Let me ask you something. Have you ever opened Zillow not seriously, just casually looking, and you see a house listed for around $500,000? And your brain goes, okay, that is not insane. Not luxury, not a mansion, just normal. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a small yard, maybe a garage. Then you scroll down and you check the monthly payment. And your stomach drops. Because it is not $2,200 a month, it is $3,800, $4,200, sometimes more. So you close the app and you think, who is actually buying these houses? Because it does not feel like people like you. And here is the thing. You are not crazy, you are not bad with money, and you are not behind. The math really is brutal. My name is Luke, and I spend way too much time thinking about housing, affordability, personal finance, and the psychology of money. If you are someone who feels like you are doing everything right, you work, you save, you try to be responsible, but owning a home still feels completely out of reach, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if this video helps you understand why things feel so broken, give it a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. Now let us talk about who can actually afford a $500,000 house in 2026. Not hope, not vibes, not optimism. Just math. Here is what most people do not realize. Most of us are using an outdated version of reality when we think about housing. We compare prices today to prices our parents paid. But the system was different. Lower prices, different interest rate dynamics, lower debt levels, and housing was not treated like an investment the way it is now. So when someone says a $500,000 house is expensive, your brain compares it to a time when $500,000 meant luxury. In 2026, in many cities, that price is entry level. And that disconnect messes with people psychologically. Let us walk through the actual numbers slowly. The purchase price is $500,000. If you put 20% down, that is $100,000. Pause right there. Because according to Federal Reserve data, the median American household has less than $8,000 in savings. So already we are talking about a very specific group of buyers. People who saved aggressively for years, people who got family help, or people who already owned a home. But let us keep going. After the down payment, the loan amount is $400,000. Now assume a mortgage rate of 6.5%, which is actually optimistic. The monthly mortgage payment, just principal and interest, is about $2,500. But that is not the real payment. Not even close. Property taxes average about 1% of the home value. That is roughly $5,500 per year, or about $450 per month. Home insurance usually around $200 per month. Now maintenance, this is the one everyone ignores. A common rule is 1% of the home value per year. That is another $5,000, or about $400 per month. So let us add this up. Mortgage $2,500. Taxes $450. Insurance $200. Maintenance $400. That is about $3,600 every single month. And this assumes no HOA, no private mortgage insurance, no surprises. Now you might be thinking, okay, but maybe I can stretch a little. Let us talk income. Most financial guidelines say housing should be no more than 30% of your gross income. So let us reverse the math. 3,600 divided by 0.3. That means you need about $12,000 per month in gross income. That is $144,000 per year household income. And that is the safe number. Here is the uncomfortable part. The median household income in the United States is around $75,000. Even households in the top 20% are just crossing the $130,000 range. So mathematically, most households cannot safely afford this home. Not long-term, not comfortably, not without risk. So then the obvious question. If most people cannot afford it, why are these homes selling? This is where it gets really interesting. Because yes, people are buying them. Just not who you think. The first group, dual income households with high earnings. 2 people making $75,000 each, or one making $90,000 and the other making $60,000. They do not feel rich, but on paper they qualify. The second group, existing homeowners. People who bought years ago and are now rolling equity into the next purchase. That down payment did not come from savings, it came from appreciation. The third group, family assisted buyers. Down payment, gifts, cosigners, early inheritance. This happens far more than people admit. And the fourth group, investors. Yes, they are still here. Now here is the psychological trap. Most buyers do not ask, can I afford this long term? They ask, can I make the payment? That is it. They do not think about job loss, rising costs, maintenance, or stress. This leads to payment-based thinking. And payment-based thinking keeps people anxious for decades. You might be thinking everyone stretches on their first home. And that is true. But stretching used to mean fewer vacations or eating out less. Now stretching means no margin, no flexibility, and constant stress. One emergency away from panic. A $500,000 house in 2026 is not luxury. It is a long-term financial commitment. It requires high income, stable employment, emotional tolerance for risk, and discipline for decades. It is not just a house. It is a lifestyle lock-in. So what do you actually do with this information? First, stop comparing yourself to people who bought homes in a different era. Their math was different, their risks were different. Second, buy based on resilience, not approval. Ask yourself, can I handle a job loss? Can I handle a $10,000 repair? Can I still invest? If the answer is no, it is not affordable. Third, renting is not failing. In many markets, renting is cheaper, more flexible, and less risky. Wealth is built through consistency, not ownership at any cost. And finally, focus on income before housing. Housing affordability is an income problem, not a motivation problem. Skill building, career leverage, and additional income streams matter more than timing the market. I know this video probably was not comfortable, but clarity is better than false hope. The goal is not to buy a house at all costs. The goal is to build a life that does not feel fragile. If you can afford a $500,000 house in 2026, that is great. If you cannot, that does not mean you are behind. It means you are realistic. And that awareness is where real financial progress starts.